See the edge of those lamb chops? See how pretty they are? Yeah, man. This is how we cook lamb chops. Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Jamison and this is how I cook. I'm going to show you guys a glimpse of my weeknight cooking. I'm making me and my wife grilled lamb chops. So up next on This Is How I Cook, a simple and easy way to grill up some amazing lamb chops during the middle of the week. So guys, before we get into our recipe, do me a favor, hit that subscription button and turn on those notifications. It really does help my channel to grow. So here are our lamb chops. And I got these from Costco. And the first thing we want to do in preparing these is that we want to flip these over. And you see this shiny membrane on the back of these ribs? We want to take that off. And so what I'm going to do is come in with my knife and I kind of spin the cut side of the lamb chops around towards me. And then I like to just start by working my knife underneath the membrane. This membrane is kind of thin, and so you don't want to be too aggressive here. You just want to get it started where you can get you a finger hold in there. And then you just take your time and work your finger underneath the membrane and just pull as much of this off as you can. It's not very thick, so you don't have to pull it all off in the sense of trying to get it super deep down to the bone, but you just want to get that thin little membrane off. And this is what I like to do for my ribs when I'm making barbecue ribs like pork ribs, but I also do the same thing here for my lamb chops. And see, I've got most of it off. You just want to keep on going and work it to get all that little membrane off. It helps your seasoning get down to the meat when you do this, and it makes it for a better lamb chop in my opinion. Now if I was just doing this for me and my wife, I wouldn't go through all this trouble of cleaning up the ends of these bones, but since I'm doing this for you guys, I'm going to take the time to clean this up a little bit. But remember, this is going on the grill, so some of this is going to just cook and render off anyway. But I want to, like I said, get all that membrane off. That way I can cleanly season the rib. And once you've got the membrane off, this is what the back of your ribs should look like, right? Cleaned up. So now that we've got our membrane off, the next thing we want to do is cut through these chops and turn them into individual portions. And so what I like to do is find this bone up here, the end of this bone, right? You can do this at any point, but you find the end of the bone and you take your knife and you just cut through. And that's what you want, right? Depending on how your lamb chops are cut, you may have to work your knife around this bone up here, but all I do is come in between. And now you've got a lamb chop. So next thing we're going to do is add our lamb chops into a container here. And what I'm trying to do is not to stack these on top of each other because I want the seasoning to hit the surface area really nice. So we're going to start with some kosher salt. And we just want to get the salt on this side of the chops. We don't want to put too much because we've got other seasonings we're going to use. Next thing we're going to do is use a little bit of garlic powder. So this is some granulated garlic. Next thing we've got to put on there some lemon pepper. So this is zesty lemon pepper made by McCormick. It's their gourmet brand. So this is what we're going to use on our lamb chops. Our next ingredient is some crushed rosemary. So we're going to use this. This is dry rosemary. And then it wouldn't be a party with our friend, Mr. Accent here. So this is a little bit of MSG to help boost the umami. And remember, we've already added salt. We don't need a bunch of this. So the last thing we're going to do to help marinate our lamb chops is we're going to add some olive oil. This is gonna help the spices to bind and coat to the lamb chops, but also this is gonna help our lamb chops when we grill them. So we just put a little bit on here. I'd say maybe about a tablespoon of olive oil. And so we wanna season the other side of our lamb chops, but before we do that, we wanna coat these lamb chops in the oil and the seasoning mixture that's already in the bowl. And when you're doing this, you want to see this fat cap here. You want to get that fat cap in some of those seasonings too. And we're going to season the other side, but we just want to make sure we've mopped up the seasoning we've already put in the bowl. And so what I'm going to do is turn these kind of on their edge so that I can get that seasoning on this fat cap. So I'm going to come back in here with some more of this lemon pepper. One thing you want to do with your lemon pepper is you want to taste it to see how salty it is. If it's very salt forward, then you don't need as much of the kosher salt, obviously. But if it isn't salt forward, then you can adjust your kosher salt amount based on your taste. So this is our friend, Mr. Accent. We're putting some more of that down. Just a little bit to get this edge of this fat. That's my favorite part of the lamb chop, is that fat side. Coming in here with some more crushed rosemary, some more garlic powder. Then we're gonna add a pinch of this kosher salt here. Get this up high. And so the last thing we wanna do is we just wanna make sure that we are happy with how our seasoning is distributed on the lamb chops. I look at both sides. This looks good. This is where I want it to be. You see how I'm kind of mopping up any seasoning on the edge here. And see, I like my lamb chops herby, so I'm going to put more of this dry rosemary on it. Just get that patted in. Then we flip them over just to make sure we're happy with what we're seeing on the other side. The nice thing about lamb chops is that they grill up really quickly. So this is what makes this work during the weeknight. So these are our seasoned lamb chops. I'm gonna let these marinate until this evening, and then I'm gonna start my charcoal grill, and I'm gonna show you guys how I finish these by grilling them over direct heat. You don't wanna miss this amazing and quick meal during the middle of the week. All right, guys, so we're out here on the deck, and the evening has come, and we're gonna light our charcoal grill and get these lamb chops going. So I've got a charcoal chimney, and this is what I use whenever I cook with charcoal to start my charcoal. Charcoal chimney is a pretty simple concept. You put your charcoal in the top, and underneath the bottom, you tend to wad up some kind of paper and stuff underneath here, and then turn it down. So what I do is I just use the paper that comes from the charcoal's bag. I tear a little bit, stuff it underneath there, then I pour my coals in here on top. So I'm gonna show you how I start my grill. So I fill my charcoal chimney up with a mound on top, because when it's light, it's gonna burn down a little bit. All right, so then what I do is I'm gonna light this paper that's underneath the chimney, and I'm gonna use my trusty blowtorch to do that. And so as that paper burns, it's going to ignite the charcoal from the bottom up. So in about 15 or 20 minutes, we're gonna have lit charcoal and none of the taste of lighter fluid. So let's talk barbecue basics, right? So we got a 2-zone fire set up here. 2 zones, hot zone, cold zone. Hot zone, cold zone. For the hot zone, this is where you do your searing. So this is hot and fast. Your cool zone is when you do your indirect cooking. So I want the heat to indirectly cook what's over here, When I have it directly over the fire, then I'm doing searing. So for our lamb chops this evening, we're gonna sear the lamb chops. And then once we have a good sear on them, we can use the cool zone to keep them warm or to finish cooking them through to a different temperature if we like to. So to clean up my grill, I take some oil. I like to use avocado oil because it's high temp, right? Has a higher smoke point. And then I can come in here with a wad of paper towel and my tongs, and I can just wipe. I can wipe the grill down, the grates off. Once our grates are cleaned off, we come back and spray them again. Now see, I'm not spraying this over the fire, because if I spray it over the fire, see what happens? So I'm spraying it off to the side so that I don't get that big old flare up. Now that we spray some oil on our grates, we slide our grates back over, and we want those to get nice and hot. So now that our grates are hot, we're gonna put on our lamb chops. And so all you wanna do with these is just put them right directly on the grill over the coals. You just wanna make room. If you guys can smell this rosemary, the beauty of how I've got my grill set up is that I've got a hot zone and a cool zone. So whenever I get flare-ups, I'm not scared. I just slide the meat off of the fire. One of the things you've got to keep in mind when you're barbecuing and you're grilling is that you've got to leave yourself room on your smoker, on your grill, to manipulate the meat. If it's too much meat on the grill, you can't do things like take evasive action when you've got a flare-up. You gotta then scramble and you're gonna panic. You don't have to panic when you've got space. So just slide the meat over, and when it stops flaring up, you can slide it back. You can take all the time you want to get organized and to put your lamb chops out of harm's way. And see, these are almost done. So now that these are almost done, the last thing I wanna do is get some color on that fat cap that's on the edge of the lamb chop. So I'm gonna start turning these on the edge. Now you gotta be careful. On this grill, there's room for these to go through. So I gotta be real careful when I do this. So I turn some of these kind of crossways so that they don't end up falling through my grates into the fire. All right, so I got these on the edge. And so now we wanna slide them back over this direct heat. And remember, you see the flare up? Just slide it over. This won't take long since these lamb chops are already done. So I'm gonna let these go another 30 seconds to a minute on this direct heat. And then we're gonna take these off and plate them up. See the edge of those lamb chops? See how pretty they are? Yeah, man, this is how we cook lamb chops. Let me take these off the grill and take them in the house, and we're gonna plate them up and have dinner. Okay guys, so I'm sitting here at the table. Lamb chops are on the plate. Got a beautiful glass of red wine. Oh, that's good. Let me taste these lamb chops for you guys to let you know how they turned out. This is always the hard part of the video. All right, so here's the color on the lamb chop. See it? I think this is medium. Yeah, but this is how I like my lamb chops, a little bit of pink inside. Here we go. Oh. Okay. First thing I'm getting is this beautiful, almost buttery, rendered lamb fat. Second thing I'm getting is beautiful notes of perfectly seared meat, smokiness from the grill. Wait a minute, let me try this again, guys. Another piece. All right. Simply amazing. I think of all the things you put on the grill that get elevated, lamb is one of those things that just takes on a whole new personality when you cook it over open fire. Guys, I'm Jamison, and this is how I cook, and this is how I grill lamb chops. I gotta get back to dinner with my wife. Love you guys. Do me a favor, hit that subscription button on the way out and leave me a comment. How do you like lamb chops? There's other ways to eat lamb chops other than glazed with some type of silly sweet sauce at a restaurant. Throw them on the grill and see what happens. And until next time, this is how I cook. Delicious.